morning, everybody. Good morning. I just came in from feeding the kitty cats, and the wind blew me right back in the door. It's powerful out there. Not terrible cold, though. It feels cold, but it's not that bad. But I'm used to outside duty. We left off where little mister was, he just got kissed on the mouth by Blossom under the bush, remember? And he said it tastes like strawberry. My luck being what it was, Lucille was mounting the porch steps just then and had a clear view of this business behind the bushes. Looking down, she said very haughty, "Alexander, how disgusting, and at my party too." So I told her that what I was doing under the porch was not a patch on what she did on the porch with Tom Hackett, which set her face to crumpling since Tom had not yet shown up. As I was exiting from the snowball bushes, I saw a young fellow approaching the house on foot. It wasn't Tom. This fellow was dressed like the rest in a stiff hat and a whipcord suit, but he was tending to drag his feet along the lane, and I could not place him. Didn't look familiar. Since I was free of my cakes and Blossom, I walked down to make him welcome. Said his name was Seaforth, and that he'd been sent out by the Pantograph, that's what it says, Pantograph newspaper to cover the party because the society editor was elsewhere covering a dog and pony show at Wood River. He said he had rather cover prize fights and other events with some action to them, but as a cub reporter he had to take such assignments as he was given. If you're a cub reporter, it means you are new, just getting started, I think. I asked him if he was from around these parts. He said no, he was fresh from 2 years at the new journalism school over at the University of Missouri. And if I would fill him in, put him wise to the local scene, he'd be obliged. I thought this was a step up from passing cakes. And this Seaforth was a good fellow who talked to you man to man. Besides, I thought I'd better do my talking then, because when Mother found out the paper writing up our party, she'd be all over him. I'd like to thank the Bananas for holding the camera this morning. "This is your sister's coming out party, as I understand," said Seaforth, whose first name was Lowell. "Is she good looking?" "That is the matter of opinion," I told him, remembering that Blossom said girls of Lucille's type were going out of style. But Tom Hackett seemed to think highly of her. "That's Hackett's laxatives?" "The same," I told him. "Then I take it that everybody who is anybody is here today," Lowell observed. "Very nearly," I said. "The Breckenridges, the Hotch Hunch, the Hacketts, Senior, to name just but a few. Well, I guess the upper crust of one town is very much like another." I said nothing to that because I didn't know. What a wise person. If you don't know, you don't talk about it. Lowell remarked that everybody there seemed to be fairly pleased with themselves. And then he said, "A town that boasts inhabitants like me can have no lack of good society." Is that a headline? I saw that was a verse and thought it was clever, but he said it had been written before him by the poet Longfellow. Lowell looked up at the house and strolled around a bit, viewing it from various angles. "They don't build like this anymore," he mentioned. "This is the old place where the sea captain or whoever hanged himself, isn't it?" I admitted that, but Mother said she didn't like it commented on. "Well, I guess it'll be easier to die in than live in. What with the upkeep," Lowell said. "No offense meant. I see you have kept up on the barn, but I suppose your father will be thinking of pulling that down in favor of one of those garages they're building now." Told Lowell that was the best idea I'd heard all day and showed him the punch pavilion. Why doesn't he like the barn? We remember. It's got ghosts in it. It was right then that Lucille's party took a turn for the worst. Tom Hackett's own auto, a brown and buff-colored Crane Simplex open model, roared up the lane at an immoderate speed, swerving onto the lawn, came to rest in one of Mother's flower beds, nearly missing 4 girls from the high school. Tom Hackett stood up in the seat and then toppled out over the door, drunk as a skunk. Never seen a skunk drunk, but they do stink. Both of them together. The day just seemed to go downhill after that and continued to do so long after dark. Mother shrieked out that she'd have the law on whoever had torn up her flowers before she saw it was Tom. He was face down among the begonias for a time and not identifiable. His mother recognized his car, though, and left at high speed, taking Mr. Hackett Sr. with her. Others stayed on, interested to know what would happen next. Tom was shortly on his feet and weaving towards the pavilion. He got there just as Cousin Elvira was telling Mrs. Hotchkiss she had not seen so many well-dressed people in one place since the St. Louis World Fair. Then Tom was before her, flush-faced, with loose earth caking his lapels. "Say, listen, Mrs. Schmidt," he bawled at her. "It's my opinion that whatever pink punch you're serving would profit by a little sparkling up." While he spoke, he was unscrewing the lid off of a silver hip flask and pouring whiskey into the punch bowl with an unsteady hand. There for a minute we could have made a photograph because nobody moved. Then Cousin Elvira screamed out, "You have poisoned my punch, and I don't care if you're Tom Hackett. I will not have it altercated," or words to that effect. She grasped the bowl in both hands and tipped it forward, and the punch cascaded right down Tom Hackett from his vest to his shoe tops. Then Cousin Elvira fell back, and the bird on her hat took a dip. He's such a good writer, isn't he? "Things are picking up," Lowell said to me. "Is that the Hackett dude?" "Where is my love, my sweet, my sweet? Has anybody seen Lucille?" Tom yelled out, stumbling in a circle with his wet trousers clinging to his legs. Lucille was up on the porch with her mother's arms wrapped tightly around her, and both were weeping copiously. Lucille was abandoning her bouquet on the porch rail, and it toppled into the snowball bushes, no doubt catching Blossom square on the head. When Tom could focus on Lucille, he started in her direction. The crowd made way for him. It was then that Lowell Seaforth went into action. He strode up to Tom and took him by the arm. "Say, listen," said Tom. "You're asking for a fat nose or worse. Do you know who I am?" "Yes," said Lowell, "a common drunk," which brought forth a general gasp. "Turn loose of me," Tom bellowed, "because I'm going to my beloved, I'm going to go see Lucille." "You won't be insulting any more ladies today," Lowell said in a voice that carried right up to the porch. Then he put a hammerlock on Tom's arm and marched him over to the Crane Simplex, which was axle deep in the flower bed. The crowd followed, and he pushed Tom into the back seat, where he seemed to pass out at once, though I think personally that he was playing possum. "Tell me where this boozer lives, and I'll drive him home," said Lowell. And after considerable maneuvering, Lowell got the Crane Simplex out of its burial ground and spun off down the lane. Wasn't that a slick move? You know, Lowell's going to turn out to be the hero of this. I know most of you aren't going to be at school today. That's all right. I wanted to say a few words to you. To not be too worried, to rest. I know you may not feel like eating, but if you feel like eating, be sure you eat something. Keep your strength up and be brave. You've been sick before. I've been sick before. It's not to be worried about. Take care of everything. Help your mother. See what she's up to and see if she needs any help, if you can. All right? Stand tall. I'll be thinking about you. I'll say a little prayer for you. I love you. Bye.